I am Carlos Nelson, secondary education major from Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm Jarian Frey, social work. Catch you $20.
I'm Jordan Hearns, major music education, minor finance.
I'm Ariana Tanya, elementary ed major, K6.
And I'm Broderick Knox, K-3 education major, sophomore. All right. How y'all doing? So today we're gonna be talking about how teachers cannot carry out their lesson in classrooms. So first, I wanna say that classroom disruptions is the very high rate of not learning. When you have a child trying to learn, then you have another child disrupting class. So have anyone ever experienced classroom disruption?
Hold on, sorry, teacher, hold on. Hello? Yeah, what's up, Mom? I'm in class right now, though. I can't talk to you. All right. What
So,
you saying?
do anyone think there was an example of classroom disruption?
It was.
Let me see a phone.
My mom called.
Today's society, phones are one of the main causes of classroom disruptions. Here you go. The second cause of classroom disruptions is peer pressure. Can somebody show me an example of peer pressure?
What you about this?
Shit, what's up, Chip?
You got nothing to do?
Nope.
You trying to go kicking? You trying to smoke some? What you trying to do?
Now, no.
You sure it ain't that bad? I mean, it ain't nothing to it. I got you. Gonna be straight.
Right, you a square if you don't do it.
Come on.
Bro, what?
Man, it's a pretty girl. You ain't trying to slide. You a square. Get that homework, man. But don't be a square.
So this is an example of peer pressure. As you can see, the person was trying to do his work, but then somebody tried to influence him to do something bad. Then you had a second accessory trying to teach him to do something bad. So that's one example of peer pressure. Peer pressure is the second cause of classroom disruptions. Anything that's somebody is doing without their own will, just how to fit in, this is a cause of peer pressure. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is classroom ethics. Is your classroom stable for a learning environment? Is you qualified to be a teacher? So basically, in the teacher society, we have a lot of teachers that are quote unquote qualified, but they're not certified. We have teachers that have taken tests, but they still do not fit the learning environment for a student. So I want to ask the class is, through K through 12, did you always have like a appropriate teacher that you thought that was qualified to teach?
No.
Can you speak on it?
Most of my teachers were my coaches. So I go from being in classroom with my coach and then having to go to practice with my coach. So most of my teachers would teach, but most of my coaches would be teaching my history class or my biology class. So, and never had any experience or training in that field.
Okay. Dr. Helen in the New York Times had a famous quote, and in the quote, it talked about learning to perceive something. If only if you learn something and you don't take heed of what you learn, you really.
I feel like a lot of students' problems in the classroom start with back home, because I know some students and some peers of mine who you can't worry about formulas and how to solve this math problem. They worried about where their next meal coming from or where they sleeping at that night. So that caused a lot of disruption in the classroom because the teacher would see it as a disruption, but they just not worried about academics at the moment.
And then sadly with that, a lot of teachers in the school system nowadays, children are very disruptive. And it's getting worse as they come. So it's just like when they are being disruptive, like Carlos said, they have a lot of stuff going on in their mind about what's going on at home. So the teacher just send them to the office, not caring about what's going on. They just saying they're disruptive class. So that plays a part too.
And the final thing is how drugs and violent rap take a part of kids' lives. I really think that the outside influence with drugs come into the school systems, and that deteriorates children. You have more dropout rates. Also, gang violence and things that we listen to on the radio. They are influenced by how rappers live their life. A famous quote from one of Drake's songs was, "Dropped out of school, now I'm done rich." So that stimulates that kids can just drop out of school, then all of a sudden they can get rich. But no, what we really need to be telling them, get your education. Teach others what you have learned. And that's all.
Growing up, I didn't really. Grew up in a strict household, so coming to college, I really found more friends, and then it kind of got me to experience life more and go out more, have more friends, and interact with more people, get my networking together, and up to par.
As I was coming up as a little kid, we used to go outside and we would play, and we would see people selling drugs and smoking and all this and that, and not really knowing what it was. And as we got older, they would start telling us, don't worry about school, get this money. The money is all that matters. As long as you have money in your pockets, you and your family will be fine. So as when we reached high school and started becoming adults, that's all we focused on. We were focused on how we were getting this money, how having money in our pocket, what was on our feet, what clothes we had on our back, if we had some chains, if we had gold.
Right.
So that's all, because that's what we were influenced by as little kids. Our parents be telling us one thing, but when we go outside the house and we see older people getting all type of attention and clout, we'll just we'll gravitate towards that and start doing what they're doing and stop focusing on what our parents would tell us.